Hey y'all, it's Lynn. Today I thought we'd do a little design on the fly. I opened the Beads of the Month Club on the last video and we had these beautiful gemstones called Sardonyx. And I'm just in love with that pendant. I love the movement of it. It's just very smooth and fluid. Look at that thing. Is that not gorgeous? And the back side is just as pretty. They're very different on the front and back. The nice thing is the way we're going to design this necklace, you could wear it either way. So we're going to start out with it on this side, and I pulled out these two little spacer beads to put between the bail like so that it sits on the wire properly. Okay, so here's what I have in mind. I want to use these barrel beads next to that. And then I want to use 8mm between two more of these gorgeous barrel beads. Like that. Okay, I'm going to put some bead caps on the 8mm. And I had just enough, so I'm going to put those on those beads. And we'll take two more of our 8mm and put them like so. Okay. Now I think that's a little short, so I want to put a little length to it. I'm going to finish it with chain, but I still think that's a little bit short. So what I was thinking is a couple of the rice beads here, and then a couple of the 6mm, also with bead caps, just to add a little more interest to the necklace. Okay, then I think we'll do another rice bead on each side, and then one more 6mm. And that should give us enough length, but I'm going to test it here in just a second just to see how that comes out. So let's do that. I'm going to take one of my magic rods here and string these on and see what kind of length we get with these beads laid out like this. See if it's going to be enough to be a substantial front to the piece, because you know we want to focus on that pendant. That's the reason I'm not putting any crystals or anything with this, because I really want that center stone to be the star of the show. I'm so in love with it. I know I keep saying that, but it's true. It's just such a pretty stone. I think this is probably going to be as long as I want it, because you know this is stone and it can get a little bit weighty, and you know I don't want to make something that's uncomfortable. You always have to think about that when you're using real stone. It does, you know, have some weight to it, and especially you know using these larger beads like the barrel beads. Okay, let's get these little guys on. I just want to make sure that the pendant sits on these without, you know, sagging down to the beading wire. Oh, that one's stuck in there. There he is. Okay, come on. Well, these beads are hard to get on the rod because, whoops, I don't want them to slide off the end there. I hope everybody's doing well. The weather's starting to get really pretty. I'm so glad we had so much snow this year. It's just crazy. I was surprised. Actually, it was the ice that was so bad. Did y'all have ice where you were? Gosh, it was terrible here. We had about 5 inches of ice on top of about 5 inches of snow, with another 4 or 5 inches of snow on top of that. It was a mess for a week. It just kept snowing. And, you know, I lived most of my life in Florida, so that was something very new to me. Okay, where are you, hole? Oh my goodness. These are so shiny, the hole, it's hard to see the hole sometimes. Well, I know it has one. My goodness. That's not it. Maybe if I put my glasses on, I could see. I have to use these little, what I call cheaters, to see some of the small stuff. All right, you're giving me a hard time, little bead. There it is. Goodness. Okay, one more rice bead and one more bead, and we will see how this is gonna hang and how it's gonna look. These rods are handy. If you string your beads on, you can really tell what it's gonna look like. Put my little stopper on there so they don't go flying. Okay, let's get these situated and see. And I think that's gonna be pretty. What do you guys think? Yeah, I like that. Okay, let me get some beading wire and we'll continue. I'll be right back. Okay, y'all, I'm back and I went ahead and strung the beads on some beading wire. I'm using 49 strand soft flex for that because that's got such a pretty drape to it. So that's what we're using there, and I've got my hardware out here for finishing everything off. So let me find my little crimp beads. There they are. Get my crimping pliers. Oh, I want to use a couple of wire guardians too. Sorry about that. I thought I had everything out, and obviously I did not. Let's use these darker ones because I found a toggle clasp that has some black in it, and I'm going to use that for our ending. See right there. Okay, so first we're going to put on a crimp bead and then a wire guardian. You don't have to put these on. I just like to do that because it's just a little bit of protection for your beading wire. Go up and around. And what I do is just squeeze that a little bit. Okay, and since I'm going to be using crimp covers, I don't want to get it too close to the beads. So there we go. That looks good. We're going to crimp, turn, and finish crimping. Oh, that's some good strong crimp beads, I'll tell you that. Mercy. Okay, there we go. That's nice and secure. I'll go ahead and put on a crimp bead cover. Also what I consider a really nice finish. And I'm using a little bit bigger crimp covers because, you know, these beads are substantial. I didn't want to put a little tiny bead right there. Just make that as round as you can. We'll do the other side. I measured this, it's 7 inches of beading. So I'm going to cut a piece of chain about 10 inches, maybe 10 and a half, to finish this up. And we'll put that clasp on. Just stick these beads down into these beads. Okay, then we'll let gravity do the work. Make sure our center is on those 2 little spacer beads there. And we'll crimp this side. Okay, so crimp bead, wire guardian, go through the other side of the wire guardian, back through the crimp bead and a couple of beads. It's tight in that wire guardian, so it's kind of giving me a hard time here. Pinch our wire guardian just a little bit. Hold on to that and pull it down a little bit more, leaving enough room for our crimp bead cover there. Okay, so we're gonna crimp, turn, and finish crimping. There we go. Put our wire guardian on here. And when you're closing your, I'm not wire guardian, when you're closing your crimp bead covers, just go slow so that you can control the shape more, because you want it to look as much like a little round bead as you possibly can. If you go slow, you have a lot of control. Don't mess it up like I just did. Okay. And then we'll cut off this excess, and then we'll cut us a piece of chain. Now with this, because these beads are substantial, I decided to use this foxtail chain, which is also pretty substantial, and I think it matches the metal color too. So now, one thing I do when I'm cutting chain like this, something heavy like this, is I use my memory wire cutters, because that will wreck your good cutters, and you don't want to do that. So let's measure out about 10.5 inches. Okay, right there. All right, now this has several loops, so it takes a minute to cut it. You just have to kind of cut one at a time to get through this. Like I said, it's fairly substantial. There we go. Now we want to cut this in half. So we have half on each side. You can take a pin or whatever, put your last loop on it to get your middle. And that's where you want to cut. Okay. There we go. Have our chain for each side. So we'll take some jump rings and attach it. And I'm using really kind of heavy duty jump rings here because, you know, this chain is on the heavy side. Well, maybe I am. Butterfingers today. Through our wire guardian and through our chain. And close it up really well. Feels good. Let's do the other side. Oh, I tell you, I'm just sad today. Can't hold on to anything. Close that up real good. Okay. And we'll put our clasp on. Same process. Put it on the chain. These are the same on both sides, so I like findings like that. It makes them a lot easier to use. Okay, there's that. And on the side where the toggle is, I'm going to put 2 jump rings so you have room to pull that bar through your loop. Just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, there we go. And our necklace is complete, and I really like it. I think it came out so pretty. These stones, I tell you, they just really do something for me. I love gemstones anyway, so not surprising. All right, you guys, well, that's it for the design on the fly. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Remember, always take good care of yourselves. I'll see you on the video, on the next video. And oh, one more thing. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you all. All right. Bye-bye.